So just as a quick introduction to myself, so I'm a CEO and co-founder of Softgames. We're a Berlin-based studio. We're around about 80 people. And today I want to share 5 learnings with you how to successfully monetize messenger games on Facebook. Shortly about us, about Softgames, where we are, where we're coming from, some background. So Softgames has been about HTML5 games since 2012. Since 2012, we have built more than 500 hyper-casual titles, all in HTML5. Those 500 titles, they're embedded in more than 2,500 partners worldwide, and we do have over 30 million monthly active users outside of the Messenger. Besides this business unit, we also have another business unit, which is Facebook Messenger, instant games, as you all know it. And we've been very lucky and honored by Facebook to be one of the 15 global launch partners in 2016, end of 2016. One of our main titles are IPs from Taito, for example, Space Invaders, Cookie Crush, Solitaire Story, and Bubble Shooter. As I said, we joined the platform around about 2 years ago, and until today, over 70 million players have played our games on instant games. Until September 2018, all of our games, including the ones on Messenger, were solely monetized through ads. Yeah? And due to our history, it's basically within our DNA to know when and how we monetize users. So we've become, over the years, experts in showing the right ad at the right moment to the right user. That's how we always made money. And this also gave us an advantage once Facebook introduced ad monetization on the platform, because we already knew how to monetize users with ads. But I believe I can say we've been equally excited when Facebook also decided to introduce in-app purchase to Facebook ads. We saw the opportunity to dramatically increase the average revenue per daily active user in all of our games on Messenger. And this was because of 2 main reasons. I mean, obviously, only with ads you cannot target whales. And in-app purchase users, in-app purchase users, they can obviously pay much more. They can buy much bigger packages at a much, much higher value. You can make much more money compared to if you're only allowing ads to be viewed within your game. And those whale users, they're spending thousands of euros every month. And now think about how many ads you would need to watch to actually generate 1,000 euros from a user. It's basically impossible. And on the other hand, of course, with in-app purchase, we were finally able to be in control of revenue streams. Why? Because with monetizing ads, you're mainly dependent on external factors. You're depending on the fill rate, on the eCPM, many different factors. And this has been our business so far. So the only way we were able to scale in the history was just by creating more ad requests. So when thinking about in-app purchase, we saw this as a great opportunity, as I just said. But it was also a much bigger challenge for us, because our DNA was all about advertisement. And nevertheless, we still managed to double our daily revenues by introducing in-app purchase within our Messenger games. And let us look back how we did that. At first, we decided to invest a lot of time into experiments before we actually rolled out in-app purchase. We've been curious to understand the effects of in-app purchase towards the ad monetization, which was our main income. So a lot of times it's different, where you have first in-app purchase and then you're introducing ads. For us, it was vice versa. And our plan, because we were very carefully about rolling out in-app purchase, not to cannibalize the ad revenues, was to make in-app purchase available only for new users in a specific geo across different games. And here's what we learned. Basically, we realized pretty early that we basically had to fix the whole in-game economy. our games were not balanced for in-app purchase at all. It was basically, for obvious reasons, optimized for ads. So users could basically get everything they wanted for just watching unlimited amounts of ads. We wanted to have more ad impressions, getting more revenue. And obviously, our users felt like in a candy store. They could always get everything, whatever they wanted. Nah. And that's what we had to fix, right? So our mission ultimately was to create a higher value for each premium item in all of the games. So we limited the supply of premium currency, of boosters, of lives, to just increase the demand for it, so people would actually buy something. And the action we took was tough. By limiting the supply and increasing the demand, we created in the very short term less ad requests and obviously also less money, right? And I believe I can say that we were, slightly concerned at this point because we didn't see in-app purchase crazily going up. We just saw that more and more people actually had less ad revenue. And while we prepared the economy to support this, we had to keep in mind the 3 different balancing sets on Facebook Messenger. So there's Android, where there's in-app purchase and rewarded ads. There's desktop, where there's in-app purchase, but back then no rewarded ads. And there's iOS, where there's only rewarded ads. So basically, for example, in Cookie Crush, there were a lot of different flows and use cases and exceptions, and we experienced a lot of dead ends, actually, while experimenting with it as part of our learning curve. Optimizing these special cases for all those different kinds and platforms and whatsoever took a lot of time and a lot of additional resources. But after a few weeks of really hard work, lots of data, going back and forth, trying to optimize, thinking of every edge case, we finally went live with in-app purchase for the new users in specific geos across the games. And the first results were not so good. And even though our test group with in-app purchase grew bigger and bigger over time, the amount of purchases did not. We're like, what are we doing wrong? What happened? So what we did again is we went back into the lab, we tried to analyze, we tried to understand what is going wrong. Are we, maybe we should go back, maybe we should only focus on ads, maybe we don't have what it takes to make in-app purchase successful across our games because our DNA is about ads. However, we believed in the events, in the tracking, in our team to make it right. And after a lot of time, we actually saw that, it's pretty common sense. Who are the players who are paying something in your games? Those are not the new players only. And this is where we made in-app purchase available. The people who are playing in your game are the people who are engaged, who are in later levels, who are already far ahead, who are always chasing the next new feature, the more content and whatsoever, and who are also spending a lot of time in your games. And those are definitely not the players who are just playing the first levels, who are new users. So based on this learning, what did we do? We expanded our target group. We made in-app purchase for more people available, not only for new users, but also for users who are much more advanced in the game, who have much higher game progress. And this finally resulted in much, much, much better results. And based upon this learning, we made the decision at some point, screw it. What can we lose? The data looks good, we're confident, we'll go all in. And this was the moment from day one. We doubled actually our daily revenues with in-app purchase, making as much money in the first day already as ads. And the good thing was as well, the ads were not cannibalized. There was no fear there. Actually, it was stable and it's still growing. And in Cookie Rush, for example, what we also saw was the revenue peaks you can see here from revenue from in-app purchase came from new content releases. We saw suddenly that new levels had a much, much bigger impact on revenue. Why? Because our content is optimized for people who are at later levels, who want to be the first, who always want to have reach the end of the level. You know, they want to compare, they want to compete with friends. They want to say, hey, I already released or I already finished all of my levels today. And what do they do typically? They spend money. They spend money to just progress much faster, to not wait for lives, to use boosters. And this is what we understood. And this, I believe, also you can see quite here when we're doing content releases. Additionally, besides higher revenues, microtransactions also had a very positive impact on our long-term retention. We all know that retention can distinguish great games from okayish games. And games with higher retention rates obviously monetize much better. And that's not only on instant games. For example, for Cookie Crush, after we've introduced in-app purchase there, our day 7 retention grew by 20% by just introducing in-app purchase, nothing else. To summarize, introducing in-app purchases within instant games is the way to go and to become successful on the platform, because it gives you more opportunities, it lets you monetize your users much better, and it also allows you to acquire users, which you will never be able to make just with ads. It helps you to boost revenue, and it helps you to boost retention. And free-to-play games, you know, they have come a long way. I mean, the App Store was launched 2009. There's lots of improvements, lots of suggestions, lots of best practices out there you can learn from. There's no reason, you know, you have to be a pioneer when introducing in-app purchase towards your existing game potentially. And what does it mean for us? It has been now like 6 months since we've introduced in-app purchase on instant games, and the first results are very, very promising. We still have to do a lot of optimizing, balancing, tweaking, improving, and so on and so forth. For us, it has paid out. So we have grown within 1 year from 30 people to 80 people. We're still onboarding 10 people per month. And we're very confident. We believe that whoever wants to go on instant games as a platform, make sure you support both in-app purchase and ads, because that's the way how you become successful. And I hope I showed you some ways how we did it, and maybe you can do it as well. Otherwise, I'm very happy to answer any questions. Otherwise than this, as I said, we're onboarding a lot of people. So we're looking for technical project managers, product managers, game designers, artists, across the board, technicals. So if you're interested in joining us, please talk to me, drop us an email, whatever. Super excited to get to know you guys. Otherwise, thank you very much for your attention, and thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andre. You're not done just yet. We'll just have a quick check-in with our audience. Does anyone have a question towards Andre? There you go, there's one. Good thing I'm wearing my sporty shoes to run around.
So I have a question regarding the rebalancing of the economy to actually adjust for the IAPs. How was the perception of the user that you had before while doing the rebalancing? Because you already mentioned that you reduced the amount they can actually gain through ads. So how was the feedback there?
Yeah, of course we were super concerned, right? Because as I showed, like before you could get everything, yeah? And then there were also like quite a few negative comments, but overall within a few days, nobody cared anymore. They got used to it. Yeah, but you have to do this trade-off at the end of the day. If I give you something always for free, you will not feel it valuable. And that's the point. You know, by decreasing this supply, you will understand that it's actually valuable. You know, this is something you have to work for, you have to pay for. This takes time, and it's a transition, and it's a hard transition, but you have to do it anyways.
Did you guys do anything to actually combat this negative feedback, or did you just let it go through and wait it for it to actually stabilize in the end?
No, we do have our CRM team, so and they take care of every special comment. They make sure that if something is not working, they get reimbursed. Special buyers, they get treated especially well. This is super, super important. I mean, community management, I mean, you know it from your guys' game. Yeah. It's extremely important, and everybody who doesn't understand this is doing something wrong, I believe.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any further questions from the audience? All right then,
Cool.
Andre. I think you're off the hook. Thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much, yeah? You're
Please
welcome.
give it up once more for Andre Krug,
Thank you.
CEO